Hey, to the guy of Greek origin, Greek ancestry, who was rather unkind to me earlier this year, who I lived with. I'm curious if you regret how you treated me and yourself in doing so, in how you were rather unkind. But the reason I mentioned you as a segue, when I started to get to know you, you mentioned your Greek heritage, and I said, you invented thinking, your people, as in your ancestry, your Greek heritage, and given that I had to explain that for you to get the joke, that that meant that Socrates and so forth, the philosophers, you probably won't get this next joke, because it's to do with a guy who was one of my favourite, Pythagoras. No, he didn't. That guy doesn't even count. Hang on, there's so many of them. That guy does count. He was a mathematician, among other things. He definitely could count. But the other guy that I'm thinking of, holy shit, I've come full circle. It was Socrates, who I mentioned. I learned some amazing things about him. I knew there was something about him that I liked. There were many famous quotes of his that I learned last year that were, as I said, I didn't know were of him, of his origin. One of them was that I learned as a boy. One of the early pieces of wisdom from Greek philosophy was that we forfeit 3/4 of ourselves by wanting to be other people. There are many other things that I learned last year that were of him, that famous sayings from history that I've learned, and I was so ecstatic that I knew there was something about that guy. One of them is that in terms of how he the hemlock incident, like those that know, how his life was taken from him. It's interesting how the people that forced him to drink hemlock, I'm pretty sure that's the story, but they murdered him and said they charged him with corrupting the youth by the reality was that he was loving the youth I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about genuinely loving people, giving them what they need, what they deserve. He was teaching them the truth. The powers that be charged him with corrupting the youth or perverting the youth, whatever it was, corrupting the youth, because the powers that be don't like people being educated. They don't like our empowerment. We'll pretend I didn't say that yet, because we don't make sense these days, as if things have changed. It's interesting how the powers that be think that by changing public perception alters reality. They're nuts. But there were many other things the great Socrates shared that I've learned from. I really love his contribution. He counted too. It adds up. Take care.